The first snow of December was still dusting the windowsill when I tied the ribbon around the last gift. My fingers moved a bit slower these days, stiff from arthritis, but the neatness of the bow still pleased me. I stepped back and looked at the small pile, nothing extravagant, just handmade scarves, a set of embroidered towels I had worked on for months, and a framed photograph of Lily as a little girl holding my hand at the pumpkin patch. She had been only 7 then, her hair wild in the wind, her gap-toothed smile bright enough to warm the world. I sighed, running my thumb over the frame. That asterisk was the girl I remembered. My daughter before adulthood changed her, before Derek's arrogance seeped into her bones, before titles and savings accounts mattered more than the person who raised her alone. Still, Christmas was coming, and hope, stubborn, fragile, foolish hope, lingered in my chest. I had been invited. That alone felt like a blessing. Lily had called a week earlier, sounding unusually chipper. "Mom, we're hosting Christmas dinner this year. I want you to come. Derek's family will be there too. It'll be nice. Asterisk, it'll be nice." Asterisk, I had clung to those words like a child clings to a blanket. For years I'd spent holidays alone, cooking a small meal for one, pretending the silence didn't echo. I thought, maybe this year was different. Maybe my daughter had softened. Maybe she remembered that I mattered. I was so wrong. The phone rang just as I was arranging my boots by the door, preparing to leave early so I could help her with the cooking. I smiled when I saw her name appear. Lily. I was just getting ready. Her voice cut like cold steel. "Don't bother." My breath froze midair. "What do you mean? We're adjusting the guest list," she said, as if discussing seating arrangements for a wedding instead of telling her mother she was no longer wanted. "It's going to be crowded, and you take things so personally. So Derek and I think it's better if you sit this one out." My hand tightened around the phone. "I thought you wanted me there. You invited me." "Yeah, well." She sighed, sounding annoyed. "Dadden, Law said it would feel awkward with you around. He wants this holiday to be special. We can do something next week instead." I swallowed the sting rising in my throat. "I've already made gifts. I plan to come early and help. Lily, it's Christmas." Silence. Then a low chuckle in the background. "Derek." And Lily, my daughter, my flesh, my only child, spoke the words that tore something permanent inside me. Asterisk, asterisk. The real gift will be when you end up in a nursing home. Then we can stop stressing about you. Asterisk, asterisk. My breath vanished. My knees weakened. A sharp physical ache spread across my chest. "Lily," my voice trembled. But she continued, tone flat, rehearsed. "Look, Mom, it's not personal. Derek says his father's comfort is the priority. We put a lot of money into this dinner, and we want it to be perfect." In the background, Derek called, "Tell her we don't need her drama." My drama, my existence, I couldn't even form the words. "I just wanted to spend time with you." "Oh, please," she snapped. "You'll be fine. It's just dinner. Anyway, I need to go. We're handing out gifts soon." Then she hung up. I stood in my silent living room, tears filling my eyes before I even understood what had happened. Something inside me cracked, not just sadness, but a deep, humiliating disbelief. The kind you feel when your own child treats you like a burden instead of a mother. But the worst wasn't over, not yet. Still clutching the gifts, desperate for clarity, I drove to her house anyway. I told myself she'd take it back, that she'd open the door, see me, and realize what she'd done. A mother's heart is gullible that way. When I reached her doorstep, I heard laughter inside, warm, cheerful, familial laughter, the kind I hadn't shared with her in years. I rang the bell. Through the window, I saw them all gathered around the living room. Derek's father sat in an armchair, grinning broadly. Lily stood in front of him, holding a silver envelope tied in gold ribbon. "This," she announced proudly, "is for you." I froze. He tore it open and gasped. A cruise, a $15,000 luxury cruise. Lily giggled, clapping her hands. "You deserve it. You've done so much for us." He pulled her into a hug. Derek pat his father's back. Everyone applauded. And I stood outside in the snow, the mother who raised her, the woman who paid the mortgage for the home they celebrated in, watching my daughter give luxury to another man while denying me a seat at her table. She glanced toward the window then, our eyes met for one fleeting second, then she turned away. And the curtains closed. The cold that night didn't come from winter. It came from my own child, and that was the moment I felt something shift inside me. Quietly, deeply, irrevocably. Love met betrayal, and betrayal began to harden into something colder, sharper, and far more dangerous: resolve. The house was too quiet when I returned that night. I slipped off my coat, letting it fall onto the chair, and set the gifts on the table one by one. The embroidered towels, the knitted scarves, the photograph, all the little things I made with love, imagining Lily's smile. The smile I no longer recognized. I sank into the armchair, and for the first time in many years I let myself cry. Not slow, dignified tears, but the kind that left me breathless, clutching the armrest as memories tore through me. Like shards, I remembered the night her father died. Lily was only 15. I held her trembling body while she sobbed into my chest, terrified the world was collapsing. I worked 2 jobs so she wouldn't lose the house. I skipped meals so she could attend cheerleading camps, field trips, and senior prom. I did everything a mother could do alone, always alone, and now asterisk, the real gift will be when you end up in a nursing home, asterisk, the words cut deeper each time they replayed. I stood slowly and wandered into my small kitchen. The house still smelled faintly of cinnamon from the cookies I had prepared to bring to her dinner. I had imagined them on her table, imagined her saying, "Mom always makes the best cookies." How foolish I had been. My hands trembled as I picked up a cookie from the tray. I broke it in half, watching the crumbs fall. It struck me that this was what our relationship had become, crumbs of what once was whole. I walked to my bedroom and reached under the bed for the old metal lockbox I kept hidden. Inside were documents I never thought I would need to revisit. Papers I had held onto because a small voice inside me had whispered long ago. Asterisk, asterisk, protect yourself. One day she may forget what you've done for her. Asterisk, asterisk, I opened the box, and the top document stared back at me. Asterisk, asterisk, the private mortgage agreement. Asterisk, asterisk, my name was on the deed. I had refinanced the old family home after my husband passed and used the equity to help Lily and Derek buy theirs. They couldn't qualify on their own back then. Their credit was a mess, their savings non-existent. But I believed in them. I believed in their future. I believed in my daughter's promises. I flipped through the pages, my eyes falling on the clause my attorney insisted I include. Asterisk, asterisk, mortgage payments will be issued solely at the discretion of Margaret Lane. Asterisk, asterisk, solely. My decision, no payment without my signature, no signature without my approval. Back then it felt unnecessary, almost cruel. Lily had cried when she realized the condition, claiming it made her feel controlled. I told her it was only a formality, a precaution, nothing I would ever use against her. How naive I was! I sat on the edge of my bed, the document trembling in my hands. I thought of Lily's voice again. Cold, detached, entitled. A stranger's voice. I thought of how Derek laughed at my exclusion. How his father received $15,000 gift while I, a mother who funded their roof, was pushed outside into the snow. I thought of Christmas mornings past, when Lily used to run down the stairs in pajamas, screaming with excitement, hugging me so tightly I could barely breathe. A mother never forgets the small hands that once clung to her, but a daughter sometimes forgets the hands that carried her entire world. I wiped my eyes, the tears slowed. My heart still hurt, but beneath the pain something else began to flicker. A new sensation. Firm, steady, almost peaceful, a boundary. For years I let Lily's dismissiveness slide, her forgotten birthdays, her broken promises, her sudden illnesses that appeared only when I asked for help, her constant reminders that Derek's family comes first. I told myself she was busy, stressed, young, that I needed to be patient, understanding, forgiving. But now, standing here with the mortgage papers in my hand, I realized something painful and liberating. Asterisk, asterisk, I had let her treat me like an afterthought because I was afraid of losing her. And in trying not to lose her, I had lost myself. Asterisk, asterisk, I walked to the kitchen and poured myself a cup of tea. The night was silent except for the ticking of the old clock on the wall. Each tick felt like a countdown, not to punishment, not to revenge, but to justice. To consequence, something she sorely needed. I set the cup down, reached for my checkbook, and rested the pen on the line where I wrote the mortgage payment every month. Every month for 6 years, 6 years of carrying them, 6 years of never hearing thank you, 6 years of being treated as an optional guest in my own daughter's life. I capped the pen, I closed the checkbook, then, calmly, like I was straightening a picture on the wall, I placed both back in the drawer. My heartbeat steadied, my tears dried, my spine straightened. And in a voice I hardly recognized, calm, resolute, unshakably firm, I whispered to the empty room, asterisk, asterisk, on Monday I cancel the check. Asterisk, asterisk, not out of spite, not out of hatred, but out of finally, painfully, mercifully respecting myself. For the first time in years, I slept soundly, wrapped not in hope of my daughter loving me, but in the strength of finally loving myself enough to say, asterisk, asterisk, enough. Asterisk, asterisk, Monday morning began like any other, quiet, gray, and slow. But inside me, something was different. The usual heaviness in my chest was gone. Instead, a strange feeling settled over me, a mixture of calm and strength I hadn't felt in years. I brewed my coffee, opened the curtains, and watched as the world outside came to life. Children scraped ice off car windows. Dogs barked at passing mail trucks. Life moved on, and for once, I felt like I was moving with it, not behind it. The mortgage check remained untouched in the drawer. I didn't hesitate. I didn't second guess. I didn't replay Lily's words or wonder if I was being dramatic, sensitive, or unfair. No, I had spent too many years folding myself into smaller and smaller shapes to fit the space Lily allowed me. Now, for the first time, I let myself take up space. By noon, the bank had processed the absence of payment. And by Wednesday morning, the consequences began. The first sign was a voicemail, one of those automated ones that sounded both cheerful and threatening. Hello, this is an important message for Derek and Lily Evans regarding your mortgage account. Your monthly payment has not been received. Please contact us immediately to avoid penalties or late fees. I listened to it while stirring soup on the stove. My spoon didn't even pause. By Friday, another call came, this time from the collections department. And by Saturday afternoon, I heard a pounding on my front door. Not knocking, pounding. I sighed, set down my cup of tea, and walked to the door. I knew exactly who it was before I opened it. There stood Lily, her face red with anger, mascara smudged, hair unbrushed. Derek hovered behind her like an angry, puffed-up rooster. Mom, Lily snapped before I could speak. What the hell is going on? I kept my voice even. Hello, Lily. Don't hello me, she shouted. The bank is calling nonstop. They said the payment wasn't made. Tell me this is a mistake. It isn't, I replied calmly. Her jaw dropped. Derek shoved his way closer. So you forgot to pay it. He demanded. No, I said. I didn't forget. They stared at me, waiting for an explanation. I gave them one. I canceled the check. The wind might as well have stopped. Lily blinked several times, as if the words needed time to sink in. You what asterisk? She whispered. Derek was less shocked and more furious. You can't do that. You signed an agreement. Yes, I nodded. An agreement that clearly states the payments are made only at my discretion. That's not what it meant, Derek shouted. That's exactly what it meant, I answered, Lily stepped forward, her voice high, pitched with panic. Mom, why would you do this? Why would you jeopardize our home? We have responsibilities, bills, we have a life. I met her eyes quietly. You canceled me from your holiday table, Lily, and you said the real gift would be when I end up in a nursing home. Her face drained of color. I didn't, she stuttered. I didn't mean that. Derek scoffed. Oh, please, Margaret, don't be dramatic. Everyone jokes about old people and nursing homes. You're just being sensitive. My lips pressed into a line, and yet, I said softly, you weren't joking when you gave your father that $15,000 cruise. Derek's mouth clamped shut. And you weren't joking when you replaced me with strangers at your Christmas table. I added. Lily's voice cracked. You're punishing us. I took a breath. No, I'm protecting myself. You made it very clear where I stand in your life. That's not fair, she shrieked. We are family. I raised a brow. Family? You mean the kind that celebrates without its own mother, the kind that mocks her, the kind that treats her like a burden. Lily's lips trembled. Tears rose, but not remorse, fear. The bank said if we miss another payment, we'll go into default. She whispered, That's true, Mom. We can't afford the mortgage without you. You know that. I nodded. Yes, I do. Derek threw his hands in the air. This is ridiculous. You owe us. I owe you nothing. I interrupted, my voice steady but final. I helped you buy that house. I paid every month. I supported you. And in return, you humiliated me. Silence fell. It wasn't the silence of understanding. It was the silence of realization that the mother they dismissed so easily was no longer under their control. Suddenly another voice cut through the tension. What the hell is going on here? We all turned. Derek's father stood at the end of my driveway. His face was stern, not angry, but deeply disappointed. He walked toward us, hands in his coat pockets. I heard yelling from down the street, he said, and I heard enough to understand. Derek paled. Dad, save it. His father snapped. I saw how you treated her at Christmas. I told you both it was wrong, but you didn't listen. Lily shrank under his glare. And that cruise, he added, return it. We're not going anywhere. Derek sputtered. Dad, don't start. I said return it. His father growled. I'm not taking a luxury vacation paid for by a daughter who mistreats her own mother. I froze. The words hit me harder than I expected. Someone finally saw me. Derek turned red. Lily's eyes filled with tears again. Mom, she whispered, please, we could lose the house. I softened not toward her, but toward the truth. Yes, I said gently, you might. But Lily, I said firmly, choices have consequences. This is yours. The wind rustled the trees above us. Derek stood rigid, furious. Lily stood trembling. Derek's father sighed heavily. Let the woman be. She's done enough for you. And with that, I stepped back toward my door. I hope you both learn from this, I said quietly. I hope one day you find kindness again, but I won't fund cruelty anymore. Lily choked on a sob. Derek glared daggers, but neither of them could argue, because, for the first time, I wasn't the one bending. I was the one standing tall. The door closed between us softly, but definitively, and in that moment I felt something unfamiliar bloom inside me. Freedom. The foreclosure notice arrived faster than I expected. 3 weeks. That's all it took for reality to catch up to the people who had assumed I'd always be there to cushion their fall. 3 weeks of frantic calls, desperate voicemails, and midnight text messages from Lily that swung between guilt, tripping and begging. Asterisk, asterisk, Mom, please. The bank said we only have 10 days. Asterisk, 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 Mom, why are you doing this to us? Asterisk, 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 Mom, I'm scared. Asterisk, asterisk, each message tugged at a part of me that had once carried her through life. The mother in me, the protector in me. But each time I remembered the words she threw at me so carelessly, asterisk, the real gift will be when you end up in a nursing home, asterisk. The wound reopened just enough to remind me, the person messaging me was not the daughter I raised, not yet. maybe not ever. The bank's final notice landed on their doorstep on a Thursday morning. I know because Lily came to my house that same afternoon, mascara running, her hands shaking around a crumpled letter. "They're taking the house," she whispered as soon as I opened the door. "They're really taking it." Her voice, small, trembling, should have made me crumble. It didn't, not this time. She stepped inside without waiting for permission, pacing the living room as if searching for an escape route. "We tried to borrow money, Mom, from Derek's coworkers, from my friends, even from his father." I blinked. "And what did his father say?" Her jaw tightened. "He said no. He said you were right." For a second the room felt still, like the air itself was holding its breath. Derek's father, quiet, polite, always hovering in the background, had seen what I saw, and he had chosen to stand where the truth was, not where convenience lived. Lily collapsed onto my sofa, covering her face with both hands. She didn't cry prettily like the girls in movies. She sobbed, the kind of messy, choking sobs that shake the chest and redden the eyes. For a moment I saw the little girl she once was, terrified after her father died, clinging to me like the world would swallow her whole. But that version of her was buried under years of entitlement, years of ignoring me until she needed something. "Mom," she said between sobs, "we have nowhere to go. They said we have 30 days to vacate." I sat across from her, calm, steady. "I'm sorry, Lily, sorry." She lifted her head, anger flaring through her tears. "You're sorry? How can you sit there and act like this isn't your fault?" My heart didn't even flinch. "It isn't my fault. But, Lily," I cut in, softly but firmly, "I paid your mortgage for 6 years. 6. I asked for nothing except respect. Not money, not favors, not repayment. Just respect." She looked away, shame flickering but quickly smothered by defensiveness. "You humiliated me, you excluded me, you insulted me, and then you expected me to keep supporting you. That's not. It is what happened." I said gently, "I didn't abandon you. You abandoned the mother who raised you." The truth hung heavy in the room. For a moment I saw her break, not out of anger, but out of understanding, but only for a moment. The doorbell rang. Lily and I both turned as Derek walked in without waiting. His face was stormy, nostrils flaring. "We need to talk," he barked. "No," I said softly. "You need to talk. I'm done." He opened his mouth to argue, but before he could speak, another figure stepped into view. Derek's father. He nodded at me. "Margaret, hello," I said, surprised but calm. He turned to his son. "You're done blaming her," he said sharply. "I'm not letting you put this on her. You two made your bed with your attitude. Now lie in it." Derek's face hardened. "Dad, not now. You humiliated this woman on Christmas." His father snapped. "You cut her out of her own daughter's life, and then you expected her to keep paying your bills. You think that's how adults behave." The room went silent. Lily wiped her eyes, Derek clenched his fists, and then Derek's father did something none of us expected. He reached into his coat pocket and placed a small envelope on the table. "I returned the cruise tickets," he said quietly. "I told the agency to refund them to Lily's card." Lily's eyes widened. "Why?" "Because I don't want gifts bought with cruelty," he said simply. There was something about his words, simple, blunt, unembellished, that struck me deeply. Derek scoffed. "So what? You're taking her side?" His father straightened. "No, I'm taking the side of decency, something you and Lily forgot." No one spoke after that. Not for a long time. The eviction arrived 30 days later. The day Lily and Derek carried their boxes out of the house, I watched from my porch, not with pleasure, not with gloating satisfaction, but with a quiet, solemn acceptance. We each choose our path. This was theirs. Their marriage began to strain under the pressure. Derek blamed Lily for her big mouth. Lily blamed Derek for encouraging it. They moved into a small rental 2 towns away, nothing like the home they once flaunted. For weeks after, my own house felt too quiet again. But the quiet was different now. It wasn't loneliness anymore. It was peace. And then something unexpected happened. Derek's father knocked on my door one evening with a small tin of homemade cookies. "I figured you spent enough holidays alone," he said with a shy smile. "How about some company?" We ended up talking for nearly 3 hours about my late husband, about his late wife, about children who forgot the people who raised them. There was no romance, no forwardness, no pressure, just companionship. Warm, simple, human companionship. For the first time in years, I felt seen. 2 months later, Lily returned. She stood on my doorstep, thinner, quieter, humbler. "Mom," she whispered, voice breaking, "I'm sorry. Not a demand, not an excuse, a confession." And though forgiveness would take time, I knew we had begun something new, not a return to the past, but the first step towards something healthier. Something earned, something real. As I closed the door that night after she left, I realized something profound. My revenge was never the foreclosure. It wasn't taking back money. It wasn't humiliating her. My revenge was reclaiming the dignity I had lost, the power I had given away, the love I deserved from myself at last. And that, more than anything, was the beginning of my new life. My new peace, my new beginning.